There have been many times people claim to be harassed online, and using that as an excuse to justify illogical or immoral actions. It happens often, and usually that harassment, while unwarranted, is not related to the subject at hand. In this case it is. In this case, the subject of this video is pure hatred against pedophiles, or those that defend them. If this was any other subject, half of the comments I'm showing would almost seem like exaggerated sarcasm. But because it's pedophilia, it's doubtful that the majority of these are just bad jokes. So this begs the question, is pedophilia bad? I'll leave a show of comments against pedophilia playing while I explain the topic, that way you can get an idea of how much some people hate pedophiles. The comments I'm taking come from the video listed in the description. I would highly recommend checking it out, as well as the video it responds to by Shoe on Head. First, let's get the definitions out of the way before we answer the question, is pedophilia bad? Pedophilia is not child molestation. Child molestation is a crime, which can and will be punished by law enforcement whenever possible. Pedophilia is a paraphilia, an abnormal sexual desire towards children. Pedophilia is not a sexual orientation, nor is it a crime. With the definitions out of the way, it's pretty easy to see why people would both hate and defend pedophiles. Those who hate it likely assume every pedophile is also a child molester, but this is not the case. Pedophiles are people, just like me and you. The only difference is their sexual preference towards children. Pedophiles have a choice not to act on their sexual desires. Similarly, just about anyone usually has to act against antisocial or illogical desires every day, in fear of consequences. Some of the more extreme urges are hatred, physical violence, thievery, and rape. Some small antisocial urges are being annoying, being disgusting, or generally things that would creep the people around you out. These are urges we have to fight every day, because while it might be fun to punch that prick who called your best friend a slut, we know that there are more mature ways of dealing with problems. It is quite obvious that pedophiles can choose not to molest children, and even more obvious seeing the consequences, in saying that not all pedophiles will molest children. So, I repeat the question, is pedophilia bad? The problem where more people might get confused is the difference between pedophiles and pedophilia. Pedophiles are not bad. They're not good either, they're just people. People can be good or bad, no need to assume they're all bad based on negative urges. Pedophilia on the other hand is bad. It's a sexual urge towards children. Molesting children can hinder psychological development. Pedophilia increases the chances of someone molesting a child, therefore, pedophilia is bad. But that leads to our next topic. Can we punish someone for having pedophilia? No, but there's a better question. Should we punish someone for having pedophilia? That question is a lot harder to answer, but my personal opinion of it is like this. There are plenty of people who fantasize about killing someone. Murder is a horrible act, and even just fantasizing about it is horrible, but it's a common thing to consider what it would be like if you actually killed someone. Whether or not you think about the details is irrelevant, but it would be safe to assume that everyone has considered killing someone else before. Is this a healthy thought? Is it healthy to consider killing people, or to have that urge to grab the nearest knife and just wham? Just like that? It's not healthy, but we don't punish people for thoughts, or beliefs. We punish people for actions, and being a pedophile is not an action. And, in my opinion, that's a good thing. If you disagree, I would recommend reading George Orwell's 1984 for an example of a dystopia that punishes thought crimes. While thought crimes aren't the main focus of the book, it is a great read regardless. Even if you hate crimes, even if you hate pedophilia, you shouldn't hate pedophiles. Please, if you hate pedophiles, don't tell them to kill themselves. Please don't tell them that they're bad people just for being born, or to tell them that they aren't worth anything. Pedophiles are people, just like me and you, so please be mindful what you say to them. Thank you for listening, and if you disagree, I encourage you to think logically and post the reasons you disagree in the comments. I'll gladly respond, and debate any points that disagree with what I've said.